Video on how to look after your lipos and the charger we supply. So that's going to be the C1 XR charger that you get. In the box you're going to have these cables here that plug into the side here, positive, negative. That connects to your battery, main input of the battery. This is the balance board to balance the batteries. Okay, so when you balance charge you will need this. And obviously your main power in your 220. From there you'll see this in the box. If you want to charge directly off a 12-volt battery, I think it's from 12 to 18 volts, I think it was, if I remember correctly. But anyway, that's your input there. Okay. So if you're off the grid and you want to charge your lipos off a 12-volt battery, that's what that is for. Okay. Cool. Now let's get into it. So you've turned it on, and this is to cycle through the menus. Okay. So let's start in the settings. There's one or two settings I would recommend changing, and I'll explain why. So you go to user settings. Okay, via there you want to go into it. Use that there, the little arrow, and then cycle through the options, plus minus. So most of these things you can just leave as is. This is the one I want you to change. It's a safety timer. Look, it's always good to have a safety timer, especially if you're not monitoring the batteries. It's set to 240 minutes and then it'll switch itself off. That's fine for charging. But if you're going to put the batteries into storage, if your battery is very full, 240 minutes may not be sufficient, and then it'll switch off, and then you have to start the cycle again. So if you don't want to have to keep coming back, restarting the cycle of discharging, then turn the feature to off. And obviously you can just do that by pushing the arrow again here and putting it to off and then saving it. Okay, and that's the minutes. Cool, so we're happy with that. Let's cycle through the other options. There's nothing really there that I need you to change besides that. So I'm going to go out of there. And now we want to charge. You've obviously got different types of batteries, all right? Life battery, Lipo battery, lithium, mineral, NiCad batteries, etc. NiCad, PB battery, I'll come to that. But for now, we want to do a standard Lipo battery. We enter. You put in the specs of your battery. So on this case, I've got a 4-cell battery. It's a 4-cell, it's 8,000 milliamp. Okay. And if I wanted to charge a 4-cell battery and I want a balance charge, you always want a balance charge. Okay, you'll see balance charge. If you cycle through it, storage charge, we're going to touch on storage, discharge, and charge only. If you charge only, you're not utilizing the balance board or the balancing. Okay. If you want to charge quick, then that obviously you can select that option, but I always recommend balance charge your batteries, please. So we're going to balance charge, select. Now it's 4S, our batteries are 4S, depending what battery you have, 3S, 4S, up to 6, okay? So this is a 4-cell battery, enter. How many milliamps is that battery? So on our battery we've got 8,000 milliamps, okay? So we change it to 8,000. The charger will automatically select the amperage it wants to charge at, because it can't go higher than 8 with the 8,000. That you can change if you wanted to, but by default, let me just go back there again. The default setting it chooses is fine. If you want to charge slower, then you can charge slower, that's your discretion. But the battery can handle the 8 amps. Okay. Now what we do, we say okay, enter. And the process will be the same for any cell battery. Okay, you need to plug in, let's just turn the camera a little bit to the side. You need to plug in, obviously put the charger off prior, but now I'm filming. So we're going to plug in the battery there. That's the main power of the battery. And then you're going to plug in your balance cable, because we are balance charging. Okay, balance port is plugged in. Great, so now we've connected and we want to charge. All we do is we hit enter and hold it in. Checks the battery, and it starts charging. So you can see our battery's at 15.4. If you push the plus and minus, it'll take you into each individual cell of the battery, so you can see how it's balancing each cell. Okay, cool. So when it's finished, it'll say full and stop. Okay, then you're ready to use the battery. Now, I'm just going to cancel that because I don't need it to charge. Let's say you've finished fishing or you finished using your battery. You must always discharge the battery. Put them into storage. You never leave a LiPo charged. It is dangerous, volatile. It will cause problems. The battery will degrade over time. Okay, so we don't want to do that. We want to discharge our battery. So that is why I put the time off option in the menu off, because it may take a long time to discharge the battery. So all we do now is we're going to go into our options again. Okay, so we want to, let's just go back. I want to enter there and I want to select storage. I want to store a 4-cell battery again. It's still 8,000 milliamp. Okay, and you don't worry about the amperage here, because when this charger discharges, it only discharges at 0.3 amps, I think it was. So it's a very slow discharge. So this will have no effect. Hold the enter in. It says full. That's because my battery is already in storage. So what it'll do is it'll discharge, and when it's finished, it'll say full. So our battery is in storage. I can keep this on my shelf until I need to charge it the day before I want to go fishing or whatever. Only charge the day before you want to use it. Don't leave a LiPo charged. Okay. Great, so that is how to put your battery into storage and how to charge it, balance charge it. Now, if you want to charge, next question I get is if I want to charge a lead acid battery or a little gate motor battery or whatever. It's quite a common question I get. You would go to PB battery. Okay, obviously I've got a LiPo connected here, so I don't want to do that right now. So PB battery, you're only going to utilize this, not the balance, okay, because there's no balance on a lead acid battery. You would plug your whatever converter cable you've got on here to connect to your lead acid battery, and we're going to select enter there, and we're going to select it must be charged. So okay, you want to slow charge a lead acid, so 1 amp is fine. Okay, you don't want to charge a lead acid quickly. Slowly is good. And it must always be 6p. Alright, it may by default it might be like 3p. Choose 6p because it's a 12 volt battery. And then once you're happy and it's all connected up, hold the enter in again and it would charge. Obviously it's going to say connection break because I don't have a battery connected, but that's how you would charge a lead acid battery. Now, you saw this connection break error we had. That's also a common question we get. Guys tend to run their LiPos too flat, okay, and if it's too flat, like under 20%, 15%, your battery is obviously getting damaged. And if you come to your charger and you now try and do your LiPo charge again, it may say connection break or it says voltage too low. It gives you errors. It won't actually balance charge. The workaround is as follows. You can either just try and charge the battery, okay, and don't use the balance port. You don't plug this cable in at all, and set your parameters up and try and charge like that. If it still doesn't charge, then the LiPo is definitely too low. It's always handy to have like one of these LiPo testers, right? So if you're not sure where the LiPo is sitting at, you can always just plug it in and you can see the voltage of your LiPo and each cell, so you can see if there's a problem with the battery. Okay, so this is a handy tool to have, so that I'd recommend. But if you're not sure what the battery's voltage is on, you can actually use this meter as well. So what we do is we plug her in. So we plug it back into the charger with our cables. Okay, so I've plugged everything back into the charger, as you can see there. Okay, and then we go into our options here. Sorry, I should go into our options and we go to battery meter, and you can see there's all my cells, 4 cells. Okay, and if I push the arrows, it shows me that my power of the battery is 15.46. So which means if you, let's say this 4-cell battery was showing you like 12 volts or 13 volts here, way too low for it to even be at that point. You need to try and recover this battery somehow now to bring it to a point where the charger will accept balance charging it again. And this is the workaround, and please do this somewhere safe, so if something goes wrong you don't burn your house down. So we now know that our battery's at 15.4 volts. Let's say yours said 12 point something, for instance. Okay, this is how we're going to beef this battery back up again, try and pick its power back up, try and recover it to a point where we can try and balance charge it. So we're going to go to digital power. Okay, we do not connect the balance board. Disconnect your balance board. Okay, you don't need it connected. And then how many amps you want to do? Do this slowly, like just do like 1 amp. Okay, we want to just slowly bring the battery back to life. So we hoy like 1 amp, and we select. So you're going to slowly lift the power of the battery. So if your power was showing 12 volts on there, then put 12.5 volts into it. Okay, sorry, 12.5 volts into it, for instance. My battery's too low, obviously too high at the moment, but let's say your battery was low and you're 12.5 and you hit enter and you hold it. It's slowly going to give 12.5 volts to the battery. Okay, and basically give it 10 minutes, 20 minutes or whatever, let the battery recover, and then do it again. Go into there and start lifting that voltage of that battery up. So then we go 13 next, and so you go through stages and get the battery to where its low level is acceptable for the charger to balance it again. So normally on a 4-cell your low point is 14.8, so you want to kind of get it close to there. And on a 3-cell the low point is 11.12, you want to kind of get it to there. And that's how you would do it. So you're literally slowly pumping power into the battery and lifting its voltage. And once you successfully lift it up, you can plug your balance back up again, and then you can go back into your Lipo and try and balance charge once again and see if you're still getting errors. It should hopefully recover itself and start going and charging. Alright, I think that should cover most of the questions I get on this charger, and that is how you would obviously charge your batteries and look after them. So most important thing to remember is try and always balance charge, always storage charge your batteries when you get home. And if you do that, your batteries will last many years. I've still got Lipos that are like 7-8 years old that I'm still using, but I look after them. Yeah, cool. Drop me a line if there's any questions.